Welcome the anointed ones. Obsession is just admiration wrapped in envy and dipped in denial. Have you ever noticed how the same people who once doubted you suddenly can't stop talking about you? It's almost like you've become their favorite mystery novel, except the plot twist is you didn't need them to win. Here's a fact. Studies show that people are more likely to fixate on individuals who defy their expectations. Why? Because it messes with their ego. And nothing stings more than watching someone rise when they swore you'd fall. So now they're obsessed. Your name is their daily headline, your success, their midnight debate, and your silence? Oh, that's the loudest part. They're losing sleep over the question, how did you do it? But let's be real. They don't just want answers. They want your blueprint, your magic, your secret sauce, even if they'd never admit it. Stick around. Because we're diving into why their obsession isn't just about who you are, it's about who they could never be. At number 1, you broke the rules they blindly followed. They followed the rules they were told would lead to success. Play it safe, stay in line, don't question authority. But you ignored every single one of those so-called rules and rewrote the entire game. That's what eats at them. You didn't just succeed, you succeeded your way on your own terms without asking for permission. They can't wrap their heads around how you pulled it off. They were taught that to rise, you need approval from the right people. Follow the crowd and stick to the script. You tore up that script and created something entirely your own. And the best part? You made it look effortless. They were working overtime to fit into boxes you refused to step into. Now they're obsessed because your very existence challenges everything they've been taught to believe. It's not just curiosity, it's frustration. You're proof that the rules they worshipped were nothing more than chains. And deep down, they hate that they never dared to break free themselves. They obsess over your every move because they want to find a crack in your armor, something to prove you got lucky or cheated the system. But they won't find it. Why? Because the system never owned you in the first place. They want to know how you did it, but they're too afraid to ask outright. So they lurk, study, gossip, and analyze from the shadows. It's not just about how you did it, it's about why they couldn't. That's what keeps them awake at night. This nagging realization that while they were busy following, you were busy leading. And now, they can't stop watching. Because deep down, they know. You didn't just break the rules. You proved they were never real to begin with. Number 2, you made the impossible look effortless. There's something infuriatingly captivating about watching someone make the impossible look easy. That's exactly what you did. While everyone else was drowning in excuses, too hard, too risky, not enough time, you went ahead and did what they only dreamed of. And now they can't stop obsessing over how you managed to pull it off without breaking a sweat. Here's the thing, it wasn't effortless, but you made it seem that way. They didn't see the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, or the hard choices. All they see is the end result, and it's eating them alive. Why? Because they've been conditioned to believe that success is supposed to be a long, drawn-out struggle filled with validation from others. You skipped all of that and delivered results that made their struggles look like excuses. They're not just curious about how you did it, they're unsettled. Your achievements have thrown their entire worldview into question. If you could do what they thought was impossible, then what does that say about their own limits? It forces them to confront the truth they've been avoiding. Maybe it wasn't impossible after all. Maybe they were just too afraid to try. What really gets to them is your confidence. You weren't loud about your journey or desperate for applause. You simply let your actions speak. That quiet power is what draws them in because it's so unfamiliar to them. They've spent their lives over-explaining, overcompensating, and under-delivering. Meanwhile, you just did it. Now they can't stop thinking about you, not because they want to celebrate you, but because they're haunted by the realization that they could have done more. And that realization, that's a pain they can't ignore, which is why you've become the center of their obsession. Number 3, your growth proved their predictions wrong. They doubted you. Some even laughed at the thought of you succeeding. They had you figured out, or so they thought. You were the underdog, the one who'd never measure up. But now, You've outgrown every prediction they made about you, and it's driving them crazy. They can't stop obsessing over how you managed to prove them so painfully wrong. What stings the most isn't just that you succeeded, it's that you succeeded without their approval. They believed their opinions about you carried weight, that their doubts had the power to define your path. But your rise didn't just defy their expectations, it rendered their judgment meaningless. Every milestone you hit feels like a personal defeat to them because it exposes just how wrong they were. They thought they knew your limits, but those limits only existed in their minds. The truth is, they never saw your potential because they were too focused on their own insecurities. And now your growth is forcing them to confront something they hate to admit. They underestimated you because they never truly understood you. Their obsession isn't admiration, it's an attempt to figure out what they missed. They replay your story, trying to pinpoint where they went wrong, as if finding that answer will somehow soothe their bruised egos. But it won't, because the truth is simple. They judged you from a place of fear. Fear that someone they dismissed could rise higher than they ever dared to. Now your very existence is a reminder of their own lack of vision. They can't stop thinking about you because every win you achieve feels like a loss for them. And that realization, it's something they'll never admit, but can't stop obsessing over. Number 4. You thrived without their approval. They thought they held the keys to your success. They set the rules, created the standards, and made themselves the gatekeepers of approval. If you wanted to make it, you'd have to play by their rules, seek their validation, and wait for their permission. But you didn't. You saw through their facade, walked right past their gates, and built your own empire on your own terms. That's what haunts them the most. You thrived without their approval, and in doing so, you exposed just how powerless their system really is. They spent years convincing themselves that success required their blessing, that anyone who dared to challenge their authority would fail. But you didn't just survive, you thrived. You proved that the power they claimed to have was an illusion. And now they can't stop obsessing over how you did it. It's not just envy, it's disbelief. They're stuck replaying every step you took, trying to figure out where they went wrong. The truth? They underestimated you because their entire system is built on ego and control. They never imagined someone could succeed without needing their acceptance. But you didn't need to beg for their approval because you approved of yourself. Now, they're obsessed with your every move. They analyze your success, looking for a loophole, an explanation that makes sense to them. But there's none, because your success wasn't handed to you. It was earned through courage, authenticity, and a refusal to conform. They can't ignore you because you represent everything they feared. Proof that their power is irrelevant to those bold enough to believe in themselves, and that's a truth they'll never admit but will always obsess over. Number 5. You made them question their own identity. They've spent years building their identity around a fragile foundation of societal expectations, borrowed beliefs, and external validation. Then you showed up, confident, self-reliant, and unapologetically authentic. Your presence alone feels like a spotlight shining on everything they've been hiding from themselves. It's not just admiration or envy, it's deeper than that. You make them question who they really are, and that's a discomfort they can't shake. Your confidence reminds them of the risks they never took. Your self-reliance exposes their dependency on others for approval. Your authenticity highlights the layers of masks they wear to fit in. And the worst part, they know it. Watching you operate is like holding up a mirror to their insecurities, showing them a version of themselves they've spent years suppressing. This is why they obsess over you. They replay your actions, analyze your decisions, and dissect your success, not just to figure you out, but to understand why they feel so unsettled. It's not just about you, it's about what you represent. You're a living contradiction to everything they've convinced themselves they needed to be. Deep down, they're grappling with the realization that they've been living a lie. The life they thought was safe now feels like a trap. The choices they believed were right now seem hollow. Your existence doesn't just challenge their identity, it dismantles it. Their obsession is a reflection of their internal struggle. They can't stop watching you because they're searching for answers to questions they're too afraid to ask themselves. And while they may never admit it, your authenticity has shaken something loose in them. It's forced them to confront the truth they've avoided for too long, that the life they built might not be the life they truly want. Number 6. You're unpredictable and unreachable. They thrive on predictability. They like their narratives neat, their people pliable, and their outcomes assured. But then there's you, the one they can't categorize, anticipate, or control. You don't fit their mold, and it drives them mad. Every time they think they've got you figured out, you move in a way that catches them completely off guard. Your unpredictability has become their obsession because it challenges the one thing they hold most dear: control. They've built their world around understanding and manipulating others. To them, people are puzzles to be solved or systems to be managed. But you're an enigma that refuses to play along. Your next move is never obvious, and your motives are your own. You don't overshare, you don't explain yourself, and you don't seek approval. This lack of predictability keeps them on edge because it strips them of the illusion that they're in charge. What really gets to them is that you're unreachable. It's not just about physical distance, it's emotional and intellectual too. You don't rely on their validation or play into their games. They can't use their usual tactics to manipulate or influence you because you simply don't care about their opinions. That detachment is what rattles them most. They can't control someone who doesn't need anything from them. So, they fixate. They watch, analyze, and speculate, hoping to find a way to figure you out. But the harder they try, the more elusive you become. Your unpredictability isn't chaos, it's freedom. It's the ability to move on your own terms, without being bound by anyone else's expectations. And that freedom, it's something they'll never understand, which is why they can't stop obsessing over you. Number 7. Your resilience makes you unstoppable. They've witnessed you face storms that should have shattered you. They saw you stumble under pressure, moments where it seemed like the odds had finally caught up with you. They waited, even celebrated prematurely, assuming your defeat was inevitable. But every single time, you did the unthinkable. You rose again, stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than before. And now, they're obsessed, not out of admiration, but out of sheer confusion. You've defied the narrative they were taught to believe. The system is designed to reward conformity and punish resilience in those who don't play by its rules. Yet, here you are, thriving despite every roadblock. Your existence challenges the very fabric of what they've built their beliefs on, that people can't succeed without bowing to the system. They can't comprehend how someone like you, a person they dismissed, underestimated, and even tried to suppress, keeps breaking through barriers that were supposed to hold you back. Their obsession isn't just about your victories, it's about the way you achieve them. You don't beg for help, crumble under criticism, or seek validation for your strength. Instead, you adapt, learn, and grow in ways they never could. To them, resilience is foreign. They've been so conditioned to avoid risk and failure that watching you embrace both and still come out ahead feels almost unnatural. Your resilience exposes a truth they don't want to face. The system isn't invincible, and neither are they. It shows them that strength doesn't come from avoiding hardship, but from embracing it head-on. And that realization, it terrifies them. They're obsessed because they can't figure out how you've done it or how to stop you. But here's the truth they won't admit. They can't stop you because you're unstoppable. Number 8. You force them to acknowledge their own mediocrity. Your success has become the mirror they fear looking into, but the reflection is undeniable. Every step you take, every achievement forces them to confront something they've buried deep within themselves. The reality that they've never taken the risks you've taken, never pursued the dreams you've chased. Your life is a constant reminder of everything they could have been, and they hate you for it. It isn't admiration that fuels their obsession with you. It's something far darker, a toxic blend of regret, envy, and self-loathing. They see your success as a glaring reflection of their own mediocrity. Where you moved boldly toward your goals, they hesitated, allowing fear and comfort to hold them back. Where you took chances and embraced failure as a lesson, they clung to safety, avoiding the very risks that could have led to growth. Every victory you achieve forces them to acknowledge their own wasted potential, the opportunities they passed up, the dreams they never even dared to dream. But here's where it gets ugly. Instead of owning their failures, they project their dissatisfaction onto you. Your achievements expose their lack of courage, and rather than confronting that truth, they turn it into resentment. It's easier for them to despise you than to look inward and acknowledge that you've done what they couldn't or wouldn't do. They can't stand the fact that you are everything they wish they were, but aren't brave enough to become. So they fixate on you, obsess over your every move, and try to tear you down in an effort to alleviate their own shame. But the truth is, no matter how much they try to project their insecurities onto you, your success will never reflect their failures. It will always shine a light on the courage they lack and the mediocrity they've chosen to accept. And that's the part they can't stand. Number 9. You created value out of thin air. While they were running in circles, chasing the latest trends and mimicking whatever seemed popular, you were quietly creating something entirely new, something that had never been seen before. You didn't follow the blueprint others laid out for you. You didn't rely on what was already in motion. Instead, you forged your own path, built your own vision, and crafted something so unique that it now holds more value than anything they could have dreamed of. And that's what gets to them. Your creativity, your ability to create something from nothing, shines a light on their lack of originality. They spent their time copying what worked for others, following the crowd, and getting lost in a sea of imitation. But you didn't just repeat what was already done. You innovated, you evolved, and you gave the world something it didn't even know it needed. Now they're obsessed with you, not because they admire your vision, but because they realize they couldn't do what you did. They followed the rules and still ended up with nothing more than recycled ideas. Meanwhile, you created value where there was none, and in doing so, exposed their lack of imagination. They can't figure out how you saw what they couldn't, how you found value where they only saw a void. Your success is a constant reminder that their approach of following trends and playing it safe was always going to keep them one step behind. Your creativity, your vision, and your ability to turn ideas into something real have left them in awe, but not in the way they'd ever admit. They're fixated on you because you've shown them what true value creation looks like, and it's something they'll never be able to replicate. Number 10. You didn't let pain define you. They watched, waiting for your struggles to crush you. They expected your pain to break you, to force you to bow down to the weight of life's challenges. But instead of crumbling, you did the unthinkable. You used every setback as fuel for your rise. Each failure, each heartache became a stepping stone in your journey. While they stewed in their own defeats, you were alchemizing your pain into something powerful, something purposeful, something they could never begin to understand. You didn't let pain define you, and that's what keeps them fixated. You didn't drown in self-pity or hide behind excuses. You didn't let life's challenges become your excuse for not achieving greatness. Instead, you faced them head-on, transformed your hurt into strength, and grew from the very things they thought would keep you down. To them, your ability to transcend suffering isn't just impressive, it's a mystery they can't crack. They've spent their lives letting pain define them. They've allowed their struggles to trap them in cycles of self-doubt and victimhood, never knowing how to break free. But you broke the chains. You turned the very things that should have taken you down into the foundation of your resilience. Your ability to create meaning from your suffering forces them to question their own powerlessness. How do you do it? How do you rise time and time again when everything around you is designed to break you? Their obsession with you isn't just about what you've accomplished, it's about what you've become in the process. Your strength, your grace under pressure, and your ability to transform pain into purpose are all things they long for but never seem to attain. And that's why they can't stop watching. You've done what they could never figure out, turned the darkest moments into the brightest parts of your life. Number 11. Your success feels personal to them. Your success isn't just a win in their eyes, it's a personal affront. It's not that you've simply achieved greatness, it's that you've done it despite them. They tried to block your path, tried to discredit you, tried to sabotage your every move. And yet, here you are, standing tall, thriving, and succeeding in ways they never anticipated. To them, this isn't just your victory, it's the undeniable proof of their failure. They can't stand the fact that their efforts to stop you have only fueled your rise. Every attempt they made to undermine you only pushed you further into the spotlight. And deep down they know it. They know that their inability to break you, to slow you down, is a reflection of their own weakness, their own powerlessness. It drives them mad because your success exposes a hard truth: they lost. It's not just about your achievements, it's about the fact that you did it without needing their approval, without waiting for them to give you permission, or without needing their validation. Every time you succeeded, you showed them that they never had the power to control you. Your growth is a mirror of their own stagnation, and that mirror is something they can't look away from. It stings because it's a constant reminder that while they were busy trying to block you, you were busy building an empire. They obsess over you not because they admire you, but because every victory you achieve is a silent scream of defeat for them. They'll never admit it, but they're haunted by the fact that they were never able to break you. And now, every time you rise, it reminds them that in the end, they lost the fight they thought they could win. Number 12. Your silence speaks louder than their noise. Silence is your superpower, and it's driving them mad. In a world where people constantly broadcast their every thought, action, and feeling for validation, your refusal to explain yourself is a mystery they can't solve. They thrive on noise, arguments, justifications, gossip, but you've denied them the chaos they crave. Instead, you let your results do the talking, and that silence, it's deafening. They can't stand that you don't play their game. When people criticize or question you, they expect a reaction. They want you to argue, to defend, to prove them wrong. But when you give them nothing, no response, no energy, no explanation, it flips the script. Your silence forces them to sit with their own insecurities, their own doubts, and their own noise. Now, every move you make is under scrutiny. They're obsessing over the meaning behind your silence, overanalyzing every action, hoping to find cracks in your armor. But there's nothing for them to latch onto, and that's what keeps them hooked. The less you give, the more they want. It's a paradox they can't escape. What they don't realize is that your silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. By refusing to engage, you rob them of power. You control the narrative without saying a word. They're left talking in circles while you quietly build, succeed, and grow. And here's the kicker: the more noise they make, the more obvious their obsession becomes. They're so focused on trying to figure you out that they don't realize you've already won. Because in the end, the loudest voice in the room is never the strongest. It's the one that doesn't need to shout. In the end, your success is their greatest enigma, one they can't shake, can't escape, and can't stop obsessing over. Every move you make, every boundary you push serves as a reminder of everything they failed to achieve and everything they'll never have the courage to pursue. You've become the living proof that success isn't just about following the crowd or playing it safe. It's about breaking through, creating value from nothing, and doing the impossible when everyone else thought you were destined to fall. They can't stop watching because your existence forces them to confront the limits they've placed on themselves. Your resilience, your authenticity, and your unapologetic rise in a world designed to break you expose their insecurities and their deepest regrets. But here's the thing, they'll never tell you this. They'll never admit that their obsession with you isn't admiration, but fear. Fear that your life is the one they wish they had the courage to live. And as long as you keep rising, as long as you keep thriving, their fixation on you will only grow stronger. But here's the beauty of it. You've already won. The moment they became obsessed with you, they sealed their own defeat. Because no matter how much they obsess, no matter how hard they try to bring you down, they can't touch what you've built. They can't stop your growth. They can't control the narrative you've created. And that, my friend, is the ultimate victory. If you felt the power of this message, If you recognize the truth in every word, then you know this journey has only just begun. Your rise, your strength, and your ability to defy the odds are what set you apart, and we're just scratching the surface. Don't let this be the last time you hear something that fuels your fire. Subscribe to the channel now, because we're going deeper, uncovering more truths, and unlocking the kind of wisdom that will keep you unstoppable. You were made for greatness, and this channel is here to help you realize it. Join us, and let's keep building together. Hit that subscribe button, and let's elevate. Stay blessed.